Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing another training rant video, this time on Kanye West. Now a training rant video for me is me playing Rocket League on the background while I talk about a subject. In this case it will be Kanye West. The gameplay doesn't matter that much because I'm basically on auto mode while I'm ranting, but there you go, that's a stupid goal. So Kanye recently said in an interview with Alex Jones that he likes Hitler. Now I heard it, okay? I saw him, he was with a mask. Oh! He was saying some crazy stuff that even had Alex Jones going like, bro, chill. Now I want to make clear, I don't endorse what Kanye West was saying on this interview, and what he's been saying on some other interview too, you know, about Jewish people. However, in this video, I'm going to be trying to come up with the most charitable interpretation of his message that I can. Because even though Kanye has been saying, you know, some stuff that might sound a little, you know, off, I don't particularly think he's being super malicious about it. I think just Kanye is one of those guys that like to talk about things that you shouldn't talk about, or things that are too sensitive for the public to talk about. More than malicious, I think that in his mind, he's just trying to talk about certain things that we brush off or that we deem too sensitive to have a conversation about. And I actually kind of like that a little bit, because personally I'm a person that, you know, watches political content and they talk about very sensitive subjects, but and I think those kind of subjects should be discussed. I don't know if you guys remember what Kanye said a while ago, that he said, you know, celebrity was a choice and stuff like that. I think he says stuff like that to get a rise out of people, to create conversation around that subject. Again, being super charitable here, let's say he's just saying these kind of things a little bit for shock value, but with the end goal of starting a conversation about that topic, you know, so we can actually talk about those subjects and they're not taboo. And the only way that he knows how to do it is basically saying some outlandish statement that will get people talking. Now I think personally that there's smarter ways to convey that message if you want to talk about those things, and that for the benefit of the person that's speaking, he should be as diplomatic, as eloquent as possible. And that's not what Kanye is doing at all. But at the same time, I don't know if he was that way, if people, you know, would take him more seriously. Because if you see somebody talk about a taboo subject in like a very eloquent, passive way, and he's debating somebody else on the opposite end, and they're changing ideas, and it's very, how do I say it, very civil, it may not really cause a huge reaction or like a shock reaction in the public. But saying it like in a dumb way, just blurting out something like, I like Hitler, may cause people to talk just for how outlandish that statement is. Maybe that's a strategy, I don't know. I particularly think that Kanye should learn how to express his narrative in a way better way. He needs to structure, if he wants to talk about these kind of things that he knows are taboo, and he wants to create a conversation around the subject, he should be way more tactful about it and approach it more delicately, and to be super charitable here to him. And again, I don't really endorse this message, but if he wants to talk about Jewish people in the media, about, you know, how you, in a way, you can't come at Jewish people for anything because they're like untouchable in some particular way. If he wants to approach those kind of subjects, he should do it like a way smarter way. Because personally, I'm that kind of guy that could probably talk about any subject, no matter how controversial it is. I'm the kind of guy that could engage in a conversation like that, and would like to hear conversations like that if done properly, you know what I mean? And again, some people would argue that just having those kind of conversations anti-Semitic, because it's, like I said, it's very, people add a lot of assumptions to conversations or to certain topics, that if you go against a certain topic, you're already a racist or something like that, and therefore we can never talk about those topics. And I think usually for me that's a mistake. But again, I think some subjects are very sensitive and you need to approach them in a tactful way. So like I said, if I'm being charitable to Kanye and he wants to talk about all those things, he also needs to be prepared to have somebody that would challenge those ideas, or somebody that he could have like a civil conversation with that's going to disagree with him in a way. And he can't freak out, and he has a tendency to freak out every time he says a message and somebody questions him about it. He's just like a guy that Kanye seems like a guy that just want to drop his truth bombs and then dip out of there. You know what I mean? He doesn't seem like a guy that really wants to have a conversation about those subjects. He doesn't want to be challenged on those subjects. He seems like a guy that just wants to hear like, oh my God, you're so right. Oh, I never thought of it that way. It seems like he wants that kind of reaction out of people. He thinks he's so smart, and then he's coming up with the subjects, you know, for the better of mankind. Oh, let's talk about these things because we should be able to talk about these things. But whenever he actually has to discuss it with somebody, he can't handle it. He can't handle any pushback. Because again, I don't think it's super malicious, but I do think it's childish. It's egotistical and selfish. Mainly egotistical, because he thinks he has some sort of opinion that's so mind-blowing and life-changing that he needs to share with people and influence people with it. Yet he's not really willing to defend any sort of pushback on it. And now the problem is, if you want to talk about subjects like that, you're gonna have some pushback. You're gonna have narratives from the media painting you racist and anti-Semite, painting you in a bunch of different ways, painting you even as crazy, which he's not. Kanye's not crazy, all right? I think he has a problem expressing himself. I think he's a little bit mentally ill, probably bipolar, right? I heard. And his main problem is, I think, he doesn't know how to convey his narrative in a cohesive kind of way. He's all over the place every time he talks about a subject. So in a way, it feels that Kanye wants to talk about or bring to light all these subjects that he knows are taboo in society and we should have a conversation about, right? He wants to bring them up, but he's not mentally equipped to traverse to something like that. He's just taking his grave deeper and deeper because he doesn't know how to do that. And let me tell you something, even people that know how to do that better, for example, the guy that he has on his entourage at the moment, Nick Fuentes is more prepared to handle those kind of conversations. Oh, nice. And that's maybe why Kanye is adding him to his posse lately. Maybe as like his advisor that he probably won't listen to. Now, Nick Fuentes is a guy that for a lot of people is like a white supremacist. He's like a whistleblower for white supremacists, you know what I mean? At best, you know, to put it on a Montaigne way, you could say he's a white nationalist. If you hear him talk, which I have, he seems like a guy that's hiding his power level a little bit, that he knows how to play, you know, the game at least. He won't flat out deny the Holocaust. He won't flat out say that, you know, you need to get rid of all the brown and black people. He won't take it that far. But however, he would say that he's for a white pro-Christian country that's mainly white. Now, Nick Fuentes himself, because of his message, has been deemed racist, like I said, a white supremacist, and he's been, you know, kicked off a lot of platforms because of his message. And he actually approaches it in a correct way, in a more civilized, more diplomatic way, in the way that he's able to debate his points with other people, with people that push him back. Some people really push him back, and he's still able to debate. So in that sense, I would say he's better equipped than Kanye to talk about that specific subject. But my point is, when you have that kind of message, even if you're more eloquent or you're more prepared like Nick Fuentes is, you're still gonna get, you know, banned or alienated because of, you know, the weight of the message that they're trying to talk about. Now, I don't hate Nick Fuentes, okay? I don't agree with his point of views or what he wants out of his country, but at least I'm able to recognize that he's able to bring this topic forward and debate it in a way more intellectual way than Kanye ever can. However, Kanye has way more influence than Nick Fuentes. And in this case, Kanye seems like a useful idiot to Nick Fuentes. Now, mind you, I don't know how much Nick Fuentes is advising Kanye, but I bet he probably is advising him to, hey, maybe if you're going to talk about this subject, you should approach it this way. But like I said, Kanye seems like a very difficult person when it comes to talking with him and how to, how to guide him a little bit, because I do think Kanye, if he wants to keep speaking publicly about these taboo subjects, he needs to be guided through it, and he needs to learn how to do it in a more effective way. But right now, he's not taking that approach at all. And this is me being super charitable to Kanye, all right? Because for some reason, I like Kanye, okay? I think he's a very good musician. He's a very cool producer when it comes to making music. I don't particularly think he's being malicious when he says this kind of things. I just think, like I said, he wants to shock the world into having this kind of conversations. I think this is me. I'm most charitable towards Kanye. I'm trying to understand where he's coming from. I'm trying to understand at the end of the day, what's the most positive thing that I could get out of his message for the sake of, having a conversation about these taboo subjects, which I think shouldn't be that taboo. Now, mind you, when it comes to these messages, like I said, you have to be very tactful and you have to be very intelligent where you bring them up, where you discuss them, if it's in a safe place where you can discuss them, and where you shouldn't discuss them. Like with Alex Jones, or on Twitter, or places like that are not really fit to have those kind of conversations, because they just want to hear crazy takes and react to those crazy takes, not really engage in a civilized way with those takes. Like the Lex Friedman interview that he did, I think that was a good place to talk about those sort of issues. And I saw that Lex Friedman interview, and Lex Friedman was very cordial to him, and Kanye still got upset. But those kind of spaces, I think that's the ideal places to have those kind of conversations. And I'm reminded of Donald Trump and how blunt Donald Trump was, and how he actually got elected as president, being as blunt as he was. You know what I mean? He was way more tactful than Kanye, but he was also very blunt with his statements. And those very blunt statements appeal to a certain type of people. Just like Kanye's statement is going to appeal to a certain type of people. And at best, there's going to be type of people that maybe disagree with some other things that the general public think is true. And at worst, it's going to appeal to people that are just racist. You know what I mean? Either way, you could say, if you view it through like the lens of the majority, which is the lens of like the left-sided media, talking about any of those subjects is like bad optics. It's a sure way to end your career. But at the same time, talking about those subjects is gonna get you the people that feel alienated and want to hear those kind of things, and they want to discuss those kind of things, right? It's probably gonna get you people like that to be on your side. Either way, to end this, I'm gonna say this. To reiterate, I don't think Kanye is being super malicious when he talks about these things. Like I said, I think he's going for shock value. It just seems like he's going to, talk shows or like different kind of podcasts, and he's just blurting stuff out. And it's becoming quite a spectacle, you know what I mean? And because of the spectacle, like I said, maybe that will lead people, smarter people that know how to handle these type of topics, to talk about them. But Kanye himself doesn't seem equipped to talk about these kind of subjects. And even if he isn't, he's gonna keep on doing it. So yeah, that's gonna be it for me and this Kanye subject. We'll see what he says in the future. If you stick to the end, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. So yeah, that's gonna be it for me. I'll see you guys later. Oh! Hey, went in.